Welcome to Common Unity. I'm Jason Fox.
And I'm Dr. Gabriel Lewis. And we are bringing the community together with a common unity. Well, they often say sequels aren't as good, but I have a feeling this one's going to be better.
It's going to be a banger, eh? It's going to be a banger. Well, I've had a few people go, I was really looking forward to listening to that one, but Jesus, I don't know if there was something wrong with my phone or what, but no, it looks like it was Sound Trap. If you're listening, fuck you. Well, I think we're going to be all right. So welcome back, Karl Ruby.
Thanks. Good to be back.
Yeah, thanks for coming back again.
So if you can just remember everything we said last time for over 2 hours, just repeat yourself. We'll just I'll sit and listen.
My memory's not that one good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So how have you been?
Yeah, I've been good. Just been busy coming up to the end of the financial year, obviously. So trying to get everyone's accounts out and stuff like that. Oh, go away, Siri. Sorry about that. And then just been quite busy recently just with search and rescue jobs. So they sort of come in clusters. So yeah, we've had the Tauranga group's had quite a few wee jobs in and around Tauranga. Nothing super meaty out in the Kaimais.
Is it sort of people tramping and getting lost, or is it more like people trying to get themselves lost on purpose?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think, just before the big storms that came in, there was a couple of guys up, I think they were at Katikati Way, don't quote me on that. I wasn't there for that job, I was in Auckland, that got caught on the wrong side of a stream with all the rain coming down and stuff like that. So the guys went out and grabbed them. We've had a couple of just members of the public that have, they've got, how can I put it politely? Well, they're suffering from various mental illnesses and stuff like that, and they've gone walkabout, whether it be dementia or, they're suffering from depression, etc. So they've gone walkabout, and we get called out for those dementia patients quite often, and obviously with Tauranga's aged population, we get quite a few of them.
My grandparents did quite a journey with their start of their dementia. They drove from Cromwell to Dunedin.
I didn't remember a thing.
To go to the store.
Did they?
Yeah.
Did they used to live in Dunedin?
They used to live in Dunedin.
And they were going back to the store. They remembered, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
We're a long way from the store.
Mum got the call up in Christchurch and we're like, what are they doing there? They had nothing packed with them just to go down to the store.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
It's really sad. Dementia's horrible, eh? I remember a few years ago, it will be a few years ago, we were looking for a particular person in Tauranga and couldn't locate anywhere. Found on a bus heading towards Auckland. Yeah. So completely left the area, So big search area between here and Auckland.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've search and rescue do quite a good little system. I might as well do a plug for search and rescue while we're starting.
Like a tag and release?
Nah, it was sort of. It's called Wander Search. So I don't know if you've watched the old wildlife documentaries where they put the little trackers on kiwis.
Yeah.
And then you see the guys out with the directional antennas. So it's exactly the same process. And you can either have them in a watch, sew them at, like some people, like people with Asperger's and stuff like that, they have a particular favourite coat that it could be 1,000,000 degrees and they'll still wear that particular jacket. So you can hide the beacon in the collar of their jacket or something like that. And each beacon's got a little frequency on it, and we've basically got the Kiwi detector kit. So it's a receiver, and you've got a area you can throw on your wagon or the police car, drive around you until you hear this ping, and it's just a ping. It's just a beep, 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 and that's all it is. Once you get that, you swap the aerial out for a directional one, and then you can just sort of sweep round until you pick up the signal. And we've got 3 of the units here in Tauranga, so we can pretty much sort of triangulate, try and locate the people. And they'll pick up the signal a long way. They're really good.
Can you get in a ring? Gab's lost his wedding ring recently. And
I found one.
I know. I can see that.
Do you want to hear a funny story?
Ear tag for those, bro.
That's the funny thing. I bought an ear tag, and I was like, I'm going to put an ear tag on the post where I thought that it got taken from.
Yeah.
And I was like, I bought the ear tag, configured it, and then I was like, okay, I need to go put one of the key tag loops and tape it onto the Apple tag.
Yeah.
Went to the shed where it was. My ring was right beside where the, the tags were. I have no memory or recollection of how it got there.
Oh, no.
So, next week we'll get a call and Gabs will be in Dunedin at the store.
At the local force.
Hey, I'm just looking for my ring.
How do I get here? But yeah, no, it's a really good system. And we've got a chap, Brian, that looks after that for us here in Tauranga. So if you've got, elderly parents that've got dementia or stuff like that, and they're still in their own home, you can contact the police or Landsar, and Brian will come around and assess them, and if they meet the criteria, they'll issue a pendant to them. Mm-hmm. And I think every 6 months Brian goes around, swaps the pendant out, they get sent away, get a battery, and it's free to people, doesn't cost anyone anything, but we obviously just say if you'd like to give us a donation to run it, because they're not cheap to upkeep. But I can't remember off the top of my head how many we've got quite a few of them out in the community, maybe I want to say around 30. If Brian, you're listening, give me a quick text and tell me. But yeah, and then effectively, if your child or your parent, loved one's got one of these on, you go around home and they're gone, you basically just ring the police and say, hey, look, got a 1% pendant. Then the police will either do it themselves, the police search and rescue squad, or they'll call us out and then we'll come out and we'll go and find them, and we have a really good success with that, unless they find it and they leave it behind or they destroy it or something like that, and then it's...
I guess the difference between that and like an Apple AirTag or something is the fact that it doesn't actually need a battery to charge it, and that's why...
They've got batteries in the pendant, but they're quite long life ones. But they're tiny. How can I describe them?
Like,
they wouldn't be much bigger than your fingernails.
James Bond.
They're quite small.
Okay.
And they're each set to their own frequency, so they're not relying like an Apple AirTag on Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. It's just solely constantly sending out a ping, and at a particular frequency, and we dial in the frequency on the receiver. So we've got a big list of, Jason Fox's blah, 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 and we dialed it in. Oh, he's at the pub.
Yeah, after about 11 o'clock I could do with one. If I'm still out at that time, no good's happening.
So that's...
Wife goes, ding, search and rescue.
Yeah. Carl, can you go and find Jason for us? But no, that's just something we do. So we've just been busy with just lots of bits and pieces and whatnot. So,
do you keep in contact with the people doing the search and rescue due to the storms?
With the
Hawke's Bay.
Oh, the Hawke's Bay. Yeah, I was talking to. I was actually drinking whiskey with one of the boys down in Christchurch that was from the Hawke's Bay. So, yeah, he was saying it's pretty next level out there, and
So confirming the rumours that everyone's saying that, the news isn't telling the truth and there's a bit more devastation?
No, he wasn't. He didn't say too much. He said the devastation's next level, like real bad. He said out the Esk Valley there was, silt up to the eaves of houses and piles and piles of slash, he said Esk Valley's an absolute, just destroyed. Mm. So, But then he said there was parts that didn't look like
untouched.
Anything had touched it, just low lane areas and stuff like that, bridges taken out. So, he said it was pretty, he'd been in search and rescue for quite a few years, I think 34 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's never seen anything quite like that.
Yeah, because I've heard people call up on like talkback radios and stuff saying that, they've been to the war and that's got nothing on what they're seeing down there.
Yeah.
As far as bodies and other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know though, because there hasn't been any photos or anything to verify what you're hearing.
No, there's only been there hasn't been many photos at all, I suppose. I mean, you think about it. There's I got a link from a mate of mine that lives down in Hawke's Bay of State Highway 5 or something. So it's a local community page there, and some of those photos are pretty
bad,
pretty out of it. Yeah, showing you the destruction. The vineyards out East Valley there with
they're all gone,
cars stacked up on top of each other just in the middle of where a bloody big row of vines was. So,
and that's where you got to remember. Like if you're driving one of those cars trying to escape and you get picked up, chances of surviving some of that, well, there's water around you, are pretty slim.
Yeah.
So that's where what they're talking about, possibly more deaths than what they're leading on to, would be easy to believe, but
yeah, that's right.
Just not hearing it.
Unless you're on the ground, though, you're not really going to know, eh?
That's it.
That's the thing. How much truth do you put into what we get reported?
So how did you get into search and rescue? Or what's your background to kind of get you into it?
Oh, obviously from like the last time, so I was in the army, in the police. So, and then obviously did 4 years as a volley fireman. So I've always, in some way, shape or form, been involved in their services, And then when I moved up to Tauranga and that, I'd always sort of wanted to get into it, but didn't really sort of have the time because I was studying and stuff like that. And then I'm just trying to think, God, how long have I been in it now for? 2014 or 13, I think I joined.
10 years, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, it must be coming up to that, or 2004, I'm not sure, 2014 or somewhere around there. I just sort of thought, no, I've always wanted to get into it, so I did. So I originally started as a field team member, so and I wanted to get into the tracking because they do the with the tracking training. It's based on what the SAS do, so it's visual tracking. You're looking at disturbance in the ground, different colours, broken bush. You're just looking at sign basically, and I used to love doing that. So I'd go out and do training every week for that, and then obviously when the old ton camps had kicked in, and I had to hang up the boots for a while, and then since then I just can't carry enough water or anything out in the field, so I had to make that decision of being, well, I'm going to be a liability to the team, and then obviously that's not good for the lost, injured or missing if you've got a team member that's a broken ass. So
but you've got a stack of knowledge.
Yeah, so then I spoke to our sergeant here from the police and said to him, look, I don't want to leave, whatnot. So he goes, well, that's cool, with your police background and military background and obviously being a field team member, come in to what they call the incident management team. So that's the search managers basically. So we get called to the police station, there's a job, police tell us what it is. We get the teams to come out. We call out the teams and then we start planning. So there's, I can go into the science of it, I suppose. There is a bit of a science to it. There's a chap, Kessler's his last name, and he's basically brought all these searches from around the world and formed this book which is statistically based called Lost Person Behaviour. Mm-hmm. And so there was the original book, there was like 50,000 rescue missions, the data that he collated. So whether it be a hunter, a hiker, a despondent, someone with dementia, all these different, children, all these different variables. And then he worked all the information out, and it gives you some statistical values about where you're going to find someone, A lot of our searches, we have this thing, if we know the last place they were found or, last point they were seen, or place last seen, or last known point, which could be their vehicle or something like that. From there, we'll go out, we'll do a 300-metre search, and we're looking for close-in phenomenon, so that's where it's the most target-rich area to look for clues, whether it be shoe imprints, might have dropped, could have dropped a receipt to show that he's got heaps of dehydrate food and stuff, so we know that he's prepared to be out in the bush or whatever. And then from there, the lost person behaviour gives you survival statistics. They'll follow linear features, whether it be ridge lines, contour lines, streams, fence lines, stuff like that. Attractants could be creeks, rivers, high points with views, all that sort of stuff. So those are the sort of priorities. You go to search first, clear those out, and then from there, if you don't have any luck, then you start doing more grid searches. But then we've got the tracking teams and SAR dogs that will do the tracking. So if you don't have a SAR dog, the SAR dog, SAR dog's like a police dog, a bit more training in regards to they do wind scenting and, they'll follow the scent on the ground.
Still a German Shepherd?
Some of them are. So our one, Cora, one of the boys has trained her. She's a phenomenal dog. She got the find yesterday at Whakatane. She's a German Shepherd. But then the dog based down in Turangi that does a lot of work in around there and up on the, Tongariro Crossing, is a black lab.
Oh, yeah.
So it just depends. And one of the police officers here is training up another dog, which isn't a German Shepherd. So it really just depends if the dog can show...
Nice nature.
Yeah, if the dog shows interest in scenting and stuff like that. It's a lot. They put a lot of hours in, and it's all volunteer stuff.
Yep.
All volunteer hours that they put in.
It's pretty impressive what the dogs can do.
Oh, the dogs are awesome. Watching them work. And the handlers, and
equally. They're
they're real good because they need to understand what the dog's doing and stuff like that, and they're a great team. But
they'd have to be very fit too.
Yeah, because the dogs can take off.
Going off.
So what we do is they don't, unlike the police, where the police will just, the dog handler and the dog just skedaddle and chase the buddy tow rag.
Chase him with your donuts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, buddy. Bloody rumbling and just shouting out. The guy out the head screaming because the dog's latched onto him. I'm just finishing my donut. Shouldn't say that. We have what they call a combined tracking team. So you have the handler and the dog, because obviously the handler's looking to see what the dog's doing. So one, he's not actively navigating himself because he's busy focusing on where the dog wants to do, what it's looking at. So we'll have an operational...
Is the dog always on a lead?
Yeah. Massive, big, long tracking lead. And the dogs have GPS on their collar, which comes directly back to the handler's GPS. So both tracks aligned and he can see how far ahead or whatever the dog is. But there'll be an operational tracker with them as well. And sometimes another member, but they're normally just a two-man team with the dog. So the operational tracker is worrying about the comms, checking where they are, navigation, but also backing up what the dog handler is doing. So if for some reason the dog, picked up something else and sort of went off the scent, the dog might go ahead and the operational tracker will go, hold on, I've got it out here, which looks like someone's gapped it out there. So he'll sort of stop me and mark it, talk to the handler will let the dog go for a bit, and then if the dog starts to go, nothing up there, then they'll sort of bring it back and then they'll cast around they're out or they're off, and depending on which way they're going. So they work really, really closely together. So they've got to be able to...
Very cohesive.
Yeah, they are. And the guys, so Nick and Nick are our combined tracking team. Nick's our chairman. They work real closely together. So if we get a job, if I'm the one turning the guys out, I'll either ring them or the police will have already contacted them. They'll be already on the way to start, because it's better if the dog can get out there without the rest of everyone else buddy stumbling around and stirring stuff up. So yeah, it's cool. I enjoy it. Put a lot of time in. It takes a lot of time out of your work day and private life and stuff, but
yeah, so for those that haven't heard the podcast that we've currently re-recording, Carl's an accountant. So I'm like, why are you up at 4 a.m. in the office every day? And this is why.
Yeah. Trying to catch up.
Yeah.
So it's something I enjoy doing. And I've had a lot of people go, oh, why would you put in all those hours and, away from your family and stuff like that? And I just look at it from the fact that if I was lost, or one of my children were lost, I want someone like me to look for them, not to sit there and go, I'm going to go down the pub with the boys tonight, I've been out for dinner with my wife and stuff, and then all of a sudden, my phone will start up, you're like, see ya, and gap it,
Yeah.
And it just
she's got to be part of that team too. And
she's
she's all about it.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's I wouldn't be able to get to do all this fun stuff if it wasn't for Megan being supportive. So I'm very lucky in that respect. But
you've got to think about like a partnership, because life is a partnership, and you've got to find the right partner that's going to fill each other's cup, because that will be part of filling your own cup, and it's quite important. And plus, you're giving. It's like, even though it might not be under the best circumstances at times, but you're still giving and giving them a gift that they wouldn't have had otherwise. Yeah, you guys not being a part of that journey. So
I enjoy it, and it's you get the old detractors and the haters go, you're just looking for the glory. It was nothing about that.
That's the tall poppy syndrome again.
It's the tall poppy.
It is. It's that tall poppy syndrome. People go, you just want people to come up and go, well done, you do search and rescue. I don't give a shit about that.
I think they probably haven't been rescued or been in a dangerous situation themselves, so that's the catch. So I'm sure if they were lost in a situation that was sticky, they'd be like, I wish somebody was coming for me. They may have twisted their ankle, broken their leg, been a few Ks out and cannot move, have been highly unprepared, and they're in dense bush. I bet you they wish they had somebody coming for them.
What happened to my uncle 3 weeks ago when we were in Taranaki? I get a message. Uncle's been squashed. He's in, was it A&E? Not A&E, the next one.
ICU.
Yeah, ICU.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit. Fuck, this must be bad. But turns out he was on his farm on his quad bike, and it flipped on top of him and broke both his legs. Yeah. But his dog was there, his Labrador. So he got his dog over to him and tied his watch to him and said, go home. And it ran on up home. And it took about an hour until my auntie noticed the dog was walking around with his watch on. She's like, hang on a minute, where's my husband?
Yeah, that ain't right.
Smart move.
Yeah. And then we went and found him and then got him up there, and he's doing good now. I mean, he's a couple of moon boots. But it's... it happens that quickly, right? It could be at home.
Oh, yeah. 100%. And I mean, my response to a lot of people that sort of, I don't know, they're all, there's a lot of negative Nancy's out there, but my response is, if you look at New Zealand Emergency Services, volunteer firemen, probably, I'd hate to say, I'd say probably 70% of our fire service is volunteers, because it's only the main centres that have permanent crews. It probably is, to be fair. I don't know what the numbers are. So you've got people that volunteer their time to go and do the fire service. St John's Ambulance and Wellington Free Ambulance, a lot of their staff are volunteers. Search and Rescue, Coast Guard, Surf Lifesaving, none of them are paid. And Westpac Rescue Helicopter, pilots are paid. I think they might have some permanent crew, but they have volunteer crewmen. So if you look at all of our emergency services, if all the volunteers went, fuck it, not going to do it, our death toll will be massive.
And take someone with a strong stomach too. It's not nice pulling up to a car accident or someone who's been
that's right. You definitely have to have the right mindset, because you don't join one of those organisations and not expect to see gross stuff.
Well, it's not about the glory.
That's right.
That simple.
Yeah. But you're right. It's that tall poppy thing, Yeah. I don't have the gumption to do it, but I'll slag you off because you're doing it, sort of thing. That's right.
And you sure as hell wouldn't, it's not like you're on the dole and you're just doing that because you want some glory. You're also running your own business.
Yeah.
So you're doing 18-hour days and stuff at times to get this stuff done.
Yeah.
Keep your customers' businesses running because you care about them and the accountancy side, and then you go and try and keep someone live in the same evening. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And to be fair, our clients are pretty good, because I've been in a couple of business meetings, and my phone will go off, and obviously it will come out and say it's the police or something like that. And I'll be like, hold on a minute, just going to take this call. And the guys will say, we've got a job, and I'll just say, look, I'm sorry, I'm going to go. And I haven't had one client yet that's turned around and gone, fuck you, I'm here for a business meeting, we're going to have it. Most of them are like, all good, ring me when you're done. Yeah. We'll just rebook it, Most people are really, really good. So again, not only is my wife tolerant of it, when I make an appointment and then all of a sudden I'm not there, my clients, I haven't had any of the clients get towing.
Yeah. Well, that's because they know you'll be there anyway.
Yeah. So it's cool. But so didn't talk about that too much in the last time.
No, we didn't. So
we found some new content.
We're doing new chats. So
new chapters.
So listen to the other one if you can sit through the sound quality, because it was a good one.
And we're just going a bit deeper in different aspects, which is cool. So it's very interesting just kind of seeing like what people do outside of the 9 to 5 and what fills their cup. And I always find it interesting because that's what people are about. Like, you've got to find those interests that you kind of fulfill you.
That's right. Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's I don't know.
Because I had a situation when we were younger with I was sailing and had the Coast Guard. My twin and I, the story ended up being in stuff. My twin and I ended up jumping off board and swam in 400 metres. Luckily, we didn't even think about the tide, but luckily the tide was going the right way. Came in and went to the cops. The cops got the Coast Guard. Then the Coast Guard went and got my uncle and took the boat off him and got him back to safety, or else he would have been a goner probably. But yeah, it was.
So he was in trouble. Then you jumped off.
We were in trouble, and we already went through a huge storm the night before. We were taking on water. Gas was going. He had some mental health issues, not mental health issues, actual like dementia kind of issues. And we realised it while we were on board, when he was screaming at us, "Why didn't you guys bring the map and we're the helpers?" And my twin and I looked at each other and was like, "We're in trouble here."
Yeah.
And he was down in the hull while we were steering this big boat down huge waves, holding on, and the waves were crashing over us. And we were just like, we had one particular wave where we were like, "Oh no, we're gone," as the boats we were heading the wrong way. Yeah. And it was coming to us side on, and I just don't know how we just straightened it up. It was like we had the hugest row, Israel and I. He pushed, I pulled, and we just happened to ride it down like we were riding a skate park. It was one of those situations, and this was the night after, and we had this crayfish boat that came in called the Liquidator. I remember it because it's so pivotal, and we were like, "Oh," and he was like, "Are you guys going in?" Yeah, we were like, "Yeah," and because we were sailing up, we were lost, and we were going into the port, and he was like, "The storm's going to be even bigger than the night before," and it was huge the night before, and we were taking on water, running out of diesel, weren't sailing, it was too heavy, just terrible. And we were going in when we were about 400 metres away. He was like, "Nah, we're going back out."
You guys were like, "Nah."
And we were like, "Nah, we're not." And Israel and I jumped off and swam in. And then, luckily the Coast Guard came in, and they actually had to physically take the boat off him, and they sailed it in. And we were very fortunate. Like, it was one of those stories where you can't believe all the things that happened. And when you think about it, you're like, "Whoa, holy moly."
How did we get through that?
Yeah, but it was pretty funny. Even when we came out, we had sea legs. It was actually quite funny. But we happened to come up, it was in Kaikoura, and it was the bay, and it had sea lions, all the way around, and we had sea legs, and we couldn't, like, we were like, whoa, like, we were really drunk on our feet, but we couldn't reach the rock, and then the sea lions were going, oh, like trying to come over and attack us, and we were like, we can barely move. It was like slow motion. It was pretty comedic. But we found the funny side of it even there afterwards. But and when you think about it, you're like, holy moly, we had somebody looking after us. So so that's where the search and the Coast Guard were completely volunteer, and it's such a pivotal for New Zealand community.
I think the Coast Guard gets used all the time. Like, I've called them, boat stopped. "Hey guys," and he's so good. Ring them up. "You a member? No. Do you want to join now? Otherwise, it's going to cost you more." Jump on your phone. "Yep, I'm a member." Okay, cool. We're coming out for you.
But what is it? $80 or something?
Yeah, it's like $80 or $90. But if they come out and tow you, it's like $300.
Yeah,
It's like, and they tell you. You want to pay 300 or you want to pay 90 now and just jump on?
Well worth the money, eh? You know?
Everybody who goes on the water should be part of the Coast
Oh, without a doubt,
Yeah, definitely.
It's just one of those moments when you first get a boat and you haven't done it yet, and you're like, cool.
Excited.
And then something happens because it's a maiden voyage, and
yeah,
that was just stalling and not starting on that time.
Mm.
We ended up cancelling them and got towed in by a jet ski. The jet ski came past, so we rang them and said, hey, don't worry about it. I don't think they'd got to the boat yet. And we were just in the harbour. It wasn't too major, but
excellent.
Had the cover.
High-powered jet ski.
Well, they are, aren't they? 300 horsepower, some of them. So yeah.
There's bloody wheels standing.
Yeah, they are.
I was just about to say, I'd be like,
It's only a 20-foot boat, but they still weigh a bit compared to a jet ski.
Low-rider jet ski.
Going back through the harbour.
So do we want to go back to any stories? You got any cool stories? So Karl used to be in the army and stuff like that. So there's a bit of his background. If you haven't listened to the first one, not Wairau.
Yep.
It was Wairau. That's
Wairau.
right. You didn't want to be in Linton.
Yep.
Wairau, and through that period of time, they put him through his truck licenses and stuff like that. So he was driving old Unimogs and stuff. So this is how Karl's become a partner with me. Does basically the brains behind the accounting side with his wife Megan in Profitable Pathways. So any of the transport customers that are listening, this is the guy that'll be swearing at you if you haven't got your books in order.
That's right, yeah.
Or in time so he can get them in order. We'll do that for you, sorry.
And if you need a relief driver, Jason and I can can always jump in everything.
Yeah. So. You didn't need 15th gear, I'll just grind that dog off.
That's right, So what else did I do was in the army? I'm just trying to think. I think I pretty much covered the army off a lot when we spoke the other time. So doing the chefing, volunteer fireman. What else do we do in the army?
You never went overseas, eh? Okay, you didn't say you went overseas?
No, I wanted to go overseas. I managed to get to Rarotonga when I first joined the army for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Does our army really get out of the country, or they just cruise around here? And
No, they did. Like there was the Bosnia deployments.
Yeah.
So they did quite a few rotations to Bosnia, and I was scheduled to go to the last one, and then I can't remember what have been. I can't remember whoever the government of the day was. Just prior to so we'd done the pre-deployment training and stuff like that, and then prior to the deployment, they decided that no, we're not going to send them anymore. So mega miffed about that.
Yeah, sure.
Had quite a few of my mates that went over there. Then I was meant to go down I was in Trentham at this stage, and I'd been shortlisted to go down to Antarctica for I think it's a 3-month deployment down there.
Yep.
So and they normally just send the chefs down there because you're basically just working down at McMurdo and Scott Base and stuff like that. And then that got shit canned, that got pulled from under me, so I was pretty dirty by then. And then I'd already applied for the police and stuff. So, But I mean, the army had been where they've been. They'd been to Bosnia. Then there was Solis. They'd always had peacekeeping attachment over to the Sinai, over in the Middle East and that. Where else had they been? They had little attachments that went all over the place. Obviously, the squadron, the SAS, they were always deploying on various bits and pieces that no one even knew about.
Yep.
Then the Iraq War kicked off. There was a bit of a deploying. They deployed a few people to there. And then obviously they've been to Afghanistan. The Defence Force sort of gets around a little bit.
Do you think it's a good option for a young kid who doesn't really know where they want to go, and they can go in there, do some pretty hands-on stuff, and then once they know what trade they want to go through, sort of study through the army and help have it paid for, or is it not?
It definitely was when I was a teenager. So back in the late 80s, early 90s, the army still had all their trades. So you could go into the army as a plumber, panel beater, mechanic, carpenter, electrician. They had all the trades effectively, but they've got rid of a lot of them now. But it's still any of the forces are a great grounding because you learn self-belief, discipline. Obviously, the discipline's a little bit less than what it was when when I was in, because I don't
Still
think they're
more
allowed
than
to.
the average person.
Oh yeah, it probably is. Yeah, but I don't think they're allowed to swear at you anymore or hit you or all that other sort of cool stuff they used to do. But I mean,
Transgender bathrooms.
potentially. But yeah, so I mean, from that perspective for the forces, you're going to learn that self-respect, the self-discipline, self-belief, for want of a better word, because, you know, I remember they used to push you to the limit, you know.
Yeah.
And they'd be screaming at you. You'd still have, I think, 7 or 8 Ks to lug this fucking big backpack and mortar box full of sand, you know. You're like, fuck, I can't do it. But you just did. You sort of just dug down deep and just kept on, head down and trucking.
I reckon you learn a lot from digging down deep, and like you realise how many extra gears you have just from mindset alone.
That's it. It's the power of the mind, eh? Like, your body can be giving up, but if you can get your mind over that obstacle, it's actually surprising how much further you can push yourself.
You think you're completely done and spent, and you're really, really, realistically 10% done.
Yeah, I think you know when you're spent, you're done, is when you go poof, you hit the deck.
Yeah,
You kind of see that in the early days of starting to run, which I need to go through again because I probably do need to build up my cardio.
Yeah.
And you know, you like go for a run and you get 800 meters or something. Like, oh, I'm stuffed. Or walk for 400 meters and you run again. And then the next day you do a bit more.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the week, you're like, oh, I'll just push through that 800 meter. And actually, I'm still running. Oh, in 2Ks I'm running. And it's like, now I'm breathing better. And you just, you get your mind out of it and you get into a rhythm. You just go. And it's all in your head that's stopping you the whole time.
That's right. And that's the thing. I think you can push your body a lot more, and you're truly exhausted when you go poof and you're out like a light.
Well, I saw that catching that fish the other day.
Yep.
I was physically absolutely shagged, you know, 150, hour and a half trying to pull 250 kgs in off a little fishing rod. You know, I was like, that's hard work. And my auntie, who's the uncle who just got squashed, she's won the one base before herself.
Yep.
And she messaged me and she goes, now you know what it's like when a woman gives labour. And I said, I don't know if it's still quite that. She said, it's the closest you'll probably ever get to it.
Well, at least you could say to wifey, you don't know.
You don't know what it's like to catch a marlin.
Did she say Happy International Women's Day to you yesterday then?
Be careful, Jason.
I didn't actually realise it was. Someone should have posted about it on Instagram.
Yeah,
So.
it's actually up on your feed and you knew.
It was up on my feed all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do think the Forces is a good way. There's still a few trades in there, but it's, I mean, if you can join the services and you can get a trade or you can get some skills out of it, you're getting paid while you learn.
Yeah, that's
Whereas if
beauty,
you go to a Polytech or something like that, you're paying them.
plus interest.
Yeah, plus interest. And if I speak from my own experience, so I went through the Army, London City and Guilds 706 1 and 2, world recognised everywhere in the world for my chefing stuff. That's my chefing qualification. Yep. And when I first started, I think our very first lesson, this is how basic they go, was boiling an egg. You got soft boiled, you know.
I think you have to actually go back to the basics.
And they did. They took you step by step. Whereas you go to a Polytech, you've only got, say, a 12-week course. I did a 5-year apprenticeship, you know, cooking every day, and then you'd have trade courses every so often, and then you'd go and sit the exams. But you go to a Polytech, you might be there 6 months, and you walk out, you're a fully qualified chef. But I saw that when I was down in Trentham. We had some work experience. I won't say that, I can say the institution because it's gone now. Central Institute of Technology used to be in Trentham, and they sent some of their chef students over, and all fully qualified and stuff like that. And I remember they came in and I said, cool. You know, they were apparently in their last qualification. I don't even know what the New Zealand equivalents were. They came in massive big egos, you know, we're all bloody this and this. And I had a lot of junior staff that had, a couple of them had done their 706-1, their very first one. Some of them hadn't even done that yet. And these guys came in and we had just had a massive big amount of butchery to come in. I was like, cool, I need some meat broken down, I need this. And they just stood there and looked at me. Like, what? I said, well, I need you to go in and, you know, break down all those forequarters of lamb and stuff. Mm-hmm. What do you mean? I said, butchery, go. No idea.
Yeah.
Didn't have all their meat came in a vacuum sealed pack.
That's how I'm supplying Marlin this week.
Yeah, vacuum sealed.
Yep.
Contact Jason.
Yummy.
But yeah, so and that was the thing. So with the forces, you learned everything.
Every step. You
Every
didn't miss
step.
everything.
So you learned everything there was about being a chef. Whereas,
But I think that's kind of important too, because that actually allows you to see the quality of the meat, the striations in the muscle as to why it's not as tender in different cuts, why you cut it in such a way, and it will make your chefing actually and the cooking better.
Yeah.
That's why you can't use this quality meat for that kind of
Yeah.
job. It makes sense to me.
And I suppose if you understand that, when you get out into the, commercial world, you don't have the time to, especially with the hourly rate, you can't afford to have someone breaking down bloody, beef and lamb and stuff like that. So you buy it already pre-cut, but you've still got that understanding of what it is. And I had a mate of mine that was a mechanic, and he was the same, like they took him through absolutely everything. They could pull a buddy, you just gave him something that ran on a fossil fuel, he could pull it apart, put it back together again and make it run. Whereas a lot of the stuff now, you just plug the computer into the OCBI 2 port. You got to change that sensor, that. Well, you're really just a bloody tick box.
Parts fitter.
So,
Unless you're stripping down engines, but now engines, they just go, we'll bang a second-hand motor from this wrecker, or, this motor machinist, but the motor goes away. But mechanic used to bore it out and do all the rest of it, and
So it's definitely a really good thing. I think if you've got a child that wants to do, and female or male, whatever, it doesn't make any difference because there's great avenues for all of them. The potential to see the world. The Navy definitely, mind you, in the Army you flew by plane to a different country. In the Navy you would be going by a boat. But they do some pretty cool stuff on the boat, on the ships and stuff, But there's such a variety of stuff you can do.
Yeah, I just had a client that she's just gone off to the Navy. She's been trying to get in for quite some time.
Yeah, and it's very selective now.
Incredibly. It was a very long process for her to get in. She's kind of basically almost had to put her life on hold for 2 years to try and get in. And she finally got in, and she's over the moon.
Yeah.
But it's a clever move, like you say, because you're getting qualifications while getting paid, earning money, which you're getting all your expenses paid for, which is essentially savings that comes out. You've got a qualification which doesn't give you a student loan, which makes you on the back foot that you have to earn money, then you can start earning money. It's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, it is. It's real.
And your living costs are pretty well covered while you're out there too, right? So what you're earning, you save a lot of.
Oh, yeah. So if you live on board, you still pay what they call RQC, ration and quarters, but
it's a fraction of rent and all
I don't know what it is now, but I think mine back then was about $180 a fortnight.
A fortnight, yeah.
So that was for a small little room. You obviously had shared ablutions and stuff with toilets, but
would that come out before you were paid, or
yeah. So that was you'd get paid, so they'd keep that. It'd be on your pay slip, RQC, but that paid for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the fortnight every day.
Yeah. You can't feed yourself in the real world for that price, and
and all the meantime you can be investing in shares or buying property or doing other things,
or at the Oasis Bar in Wairau, which I don't think they're there anymore.
I heard they went broke after you moved on.
Yeah, probably did. But yeah, it's if you've got children that want to do that sort of thing, it's 100% worth it. The pay's way better now.
I had a look the other day, because Cash, our middle child, has made noise about it. I was like, oh, cool, they'll accept you from 17.
Yep.
And some of the jobs start at like 65, 70 grand.
Yeah, they pay real good. When I first joined, I was on $16,400 for the year.
But you're showing your age with that.
I know.
And do you actually run around with guns and do cool shit? Like people like, I want to join the army, I just want to shoot guns. Do you get to do a bit of that?
In the army, you're a soldier before anything.
Yeah.
So you join, you do your basic training, which is all your soldier skills, your marching, your basic weapons handling skills, field craft. So you're always a soldier.
So you're ready for war if something were to happen.
So, and we used to deploy in the field with the mobile field kitchens and stuff, and some of them were big setups. We'd always have our rifle, we'd always have our webbing. You'd always have to do what they call stand to. So at dusk and at night, you'd shut everything down. You'd be in your pits. You'd be watching for enemy contact. So everything you did was soldier orientated. So if we were in the kitchens, buddy, cooking for 400 people in the field, your rifle was slung over your back while you were cooking. So it was always with you. If you were caught walking around without that, you were getting someone's size 11 right up your rear end. So it's you're always a soldier first, no matter what your job is. So if the shit hit the fan, you'd be straight down to the armoury. You'd be down in the armoury, getting your bloody weapon, and whatnot, and you'd be off.
Well, nobody wants to eat if they're in a sympathetic state anyway.
No, but, so it's because there was people that well, I never joined to do this shit. You go out in the field and that. Well, hello.
I thought that's the whole reason you
should have joined the Air Force if you didn't want to do that. But always a soldier first.
Cool.
So
yeah.
So if you want to shoot cool shit and learn a trade.
So what's a standout memory for you at that time?
Oh God.
First one that comes to mind.
First one would probably be when we had was it Operation Takruna. So I'm trying to think which it was a big, massive. It was at the tail end of when New Zealand was part of ANZUS, and they'd have those massive big joint exercises. And I remember we were in Wairau up above, dug in over the live firing area where the artillery and that shot, and we had the full Monty going. So we were dug into what they called stage 3 OHP. So you're sitting basically, and that's all that's sticking out of your pit, just your head. You live underground and all that sort of stuff. And we're just having this big firefight. I remember when we were sitting there, we had the Scorpion tanks, which they got rid of years and years ago. They were behind us. We had APCs. Artillery were way back. And we still had Skyhawks and stuff then. And it was just a massive fucking hee-haw, pretty much. So we were sitting there and we had all these figure 11s, so like man-sized targets dotted all out. So we're on the gun just firing. We had tracer rounds going. I may have been naughty and we meant to have 1 in 5. So every fifth round's a tracer round. And that's when you get that, like this, with the rounds at night firing. I may have made my belt all tracer for a little bit. So I was getting the shit
look like a laser.
Oh, yeah, pretty much when it heats the barrel up real quick. So I won't tell you what my staff sergeant called me, and that cost me a fair bit of coin, that's for sure, because I burnt the fucking barrel out of the machine gun with that.
Oh, they make you pay for it?
Oh yeah, shit, they were ruthless.
Yeah, see, that's good.
Yeah, so I had to pay for that, and I had to run all around camp for about 2 weeks, I think. I was lucky I actually avoided going to jail for doing it, but it was fucking worth it. I just had a laser pointer fucking shining around the place. And my number
they
two,
would have seen it and be like, hey, that's what he's done.
Yeah, fuck you. Of course,
like fucking Karl Ruby.
Like it's just this big. It was cool. But then we had the
core memory. It was so worth it.
It was, yeah. But they had the Skyhawks coming in, they were shooting shit, but I just remember we were just sitting there cruising around in the afternoon. We could hear the Skyhawk. They were like, whoosh, and they were going fucking flat out. They were full noise, and we were watching it. It was like across the sky. We were like, wow, that looks cool. And they had the Australians over, and they had their, maybe was it the F-15s or the F-14s, whatever it was. So this Skyhawk's going flat out. You can hear it just fanging it across the, and it looked pretty quick. Like, whoa, we're all 17-year-olds going, oh, that's cool. And then next minute we just heard this boom. We're like, what the fuck's that? And then this grey thing passed. We're like, whoa. And it was one of the Australian Air Force
I was just about to say Top Gun.
Yeah,
you
pretty much.
seen the old school ones versus the new school?
It was pretty much that. And we're all just sitting there going, wow. And it looked like the Skyhawk had the handbrake on,
Wow.
And we were just all like, whoa. I vividly remember that. We were just sitting there just bloody buzzing out going, that's cool. And
what's the fastest thing you've seen, the most impressive thing you've seen? Has it been that, or has it been something else that's been like, whoa?
Oh, there's a lot of cool stuff in the army.
Yeah.
Like you get to fire the old bloody M72 rocket launcher that Rambo fired in that helicopter on Rambo. That's all bullshit. If you fire one of those in a helicopter, your helicopter's going kaboom. But you got this massive big bloody back blast that fires out the back of it, but he just fires it from the pilot seat and nothing happens.
It's kind of like when I watch certain movies, I'm like, oh, that's really poor Japanese jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah, I am. I'm like that. And Megan turns around and goes, oh, give it a break. I'm like, continuity, people. It's got to be factual.
It's terrible technique. Terrible technique.
For me, it's always cars. I'm like, that car sounds nothing like that. Yeah, no, like, that's not a V8. That's not a Honda.
Yeah, or he's on a motorbike and he's going through about the 27th gear, you know, and
they're still waving goodbye.
There's all sorts of cool stuff. I mean, I really enjoyed my time in the army.
It shows.
You know, I remember the first time watching 163 battery doing a big bloody fire barrage, and you know, you got 6 guns going off at once. Holy shit, that makes the ground move.
Yeah,
you know, just this massive boom, and then this bloody shell comes flying out the arse end of this thing, and then, you know, 20, 30 seconds later, all you feel is the ground going boom, as these bloody rounds are caning it from, you know, kilometres away. Bloody, it was cool. It was really good. Got to Drover. I was attached to the Queen Alexandra Mounted Rifles QAMR squadron, they were called. They were the tankies. And Crooks and tankies hated each other. I don't know why. But I was attached to them as their ready reaction force, basically. So if they ever got deployed offshore, I wore their beret with my corps badge, and I was their chef. So if they went into the army, into the field, I'd go with them, and made some quite good friendships in there. And I remember we were out one day, and one of the bloody crew commanders goes, "Do you want to drive a Scorp cookie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do," you know. And
a what?
A Scorpion tank, the little light reconnaissance tanks. They do about 100k, those things. Cool. And then you hit the brakes, and they basically go and stand right up on the end and then drop down. That cool. And I remember putting on the driver's helmet. It had all these fucking big marks on the back. I'm like, Jesus, bro, you've been a bit hard on your helmet. I fucking found out pretty quickly what it was. Yeah. So you're just driving along, and the buddy crew commander's in the air going, "Put your foot down, cookie." And he's like, "Buddy, watch out for the hole." And you're sitting there going, "Fuck, what bloody lateral do I pull?" And off we went to this hole. Next minute, whack! And he fucking pulls out his big fucking Glollock, like machete, and smacks me straight on top of the skull with it, with the fucking helmet. And that's what all the marks on the helmet were. That was how he told the driver off. Whoop! Buddy. With the back of the bloody Glollock, you're like, bing, oh, won't do anything. You know? But that was cool. That was good fun driving those. You know, but yeah, you
can't do that nowadays.
Yeah, you take your, oh shit, no, you'd be in so much trouble. But just stuff like that it was cool. I really enjoyed it.
All that stuff's character building, though.
Oh yeah.
No,
you look back on it now and think, wow, if you did that now, you'd be in the pokey, you know.
Yeah. What a time to be alive.
Oh yeah, well it was good. It was a good time, you know. I mean, it never. I'm not an ex-wheeling homicidal maniac or anything. Not much, you know?
Anymore?
But no, it was cool. So yeah, lots of memories. But you know, I was hanging out to get over to Bosnia on that UN mission. That would have been cool because a lot of the guys I knew that went, they loved it. They loved their time. They loved being with the locals. And the Kiwis, they build a really good rapport. Doesn't matter where they go. You know, like the ones that have been in Afghanistan, and that there's always stories coming back about how they love the Kiwi soldiers just because of the way I think we are, you know. Whereas a lot of them can't stand the Yanks. But Kiwis and Australians always seem to get a pretty good rapport going with the locals. So yeah, that would have been good if I could have got there. But powers that be changed the rules on me.
Yep.
So
off to the police force.
I always have this thing: if you're grateful for where you're currently at, and you did one thing that kind of changed it, it wasn't meant to be. You know.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. And I mean, I suppose all the different things that I've done has sort of brought me to where I am. Because I think I remember saying last time, if you'd asked 18 or 17-year-old Karl, you know, when you're in your mid-40s, you'll be an accountant, I'd have really gone, fuck off, you know. Consider I failed accountancy at school. You know, bloody hate it.
You and me both, brother.
But I mean, you know, different things happen. So yeah, police. Lots of stuff in the police. I had a ball. I loved it. God, I can't
Did you do much the defenders type stuff or
no?
Or like raids?
No, I never really. I was a firearms instructor in the police. I'd considered when you're back when I was in the police, it's probably a little bit different now. You join up, you do your recruit thing, you come out, you're meant to be potentially 18 months is what they call a probationary constable. You got all these different modules you're meant to do. I smashed those out pretty quick, and then normally you do 24 months to 3 years on the street in uniform.
Yeah.
Before you can specialise. And specialties, God, the world's your oyster. You can be AOS, dogs, go to the CIB, youth aid, you can go crash investigation, fingerprint section, photography. There's all sorts of different shit you can do in the police if you want to. I'd always sort of thought about being a dog handler would be cool.
Yep.
And I toyed with the idea of being an AOS, but you have more chance of being involved in a firearms incident as a member of the CIB or frontline staff than you did with AOS, because AOS came from the CIB or frontline. So if I was working, say I was working in Lower Hutt and we had a job come up, I could be there at the time, then my pager goes off, I leave that job, fan it into Wellington, change into my black ninja overalls, and then drive back out to deal with the situation, whereas it could be fucking all over and done with. So
yeah. It only takes a few seconds to pull a trigger.
Yeah, so that wasn't the determining factor. I'd always wanted to go the CIB path, criminal investigation branch path. So that's another effectively 3 years training to become a detective, and most of the CIB bosses aren't that keen on you doing another specialist squad. So I even struggled to try and get released to go to the search and rescue team because of the fact that you get called away from your core duties and stuff like that. So
did you find it a bit boring, like you wanted to be more frontline and you were just waiting for that call up on that one Sunday morning?
Yeah, and this, I really enjoyed the CIB, criminal investigation. Like, being on the front line's cool, but you get tired of dealing with drunk arseholes all the time.
Yeah, the majority of it, eh?
Yeah, a lot of it, and domestics, they call it family harm now.
Most of the time there's drug and substance abuse as well.
Yeah, and you get tired of that really. I've still got very, very little tolerance for drunk idiots that, I don't really go out to the pubs that much because you get someone come up and push you around and you just want to fucking...
Well, I've never understood it, and I never, ever, ever have. I've never been kind of one of the drunks that kind of... I'm happy, you know.
Same.
I've never understood the ones that let their emotions out and kind of gone all loosey. I've always been well aware about what I do, and I never have understood even when people go and piss all over themselves all the damn time. And I still know I've got friends that that still do that, but I've never understood that. So
there's some people that shouldn't do it.
Shouldn't drink.
But so I just got sick of that. It was doing my head in, and I really enjoyed that hunt. The chasing the bad guy stuff. So my senior sergeant on section, he was a detective, and he'd taken promotion as a senior sergeant. So you can swap between. So there's two paths you take: uniform, CIB, and so you can be a constable over here, but you still hold the rank of constable, but your designation's detective. And then you can be a sergeant in uniform, but over here you're a detective sergeant. So and you can cross in and out. Well, as a detective, you can cross in and out. As if you decide to stay uniform, you can't unless you go through the training. So as a detective, you get the best of both worlds. You can go, all right, I want to be promoted to a sergeant. 9 times out of 10, you have to go back to uniform and run a section. So then you drop back over here. You're not called a detective sergeant. You're just a sergeant, but you still hold that designation over here. You can do, say, 8-9 months as a sergeant over here, and then a position come up, off, and you pop back over. And so it gives you a bit of a path, I suppose. So Jim basically said, he goes, why don't you look at going over to the CIB? And I'm like, I've only sort of done, I was probably only about 19 months into the job. I said, they won't have me, but I'd already been involved in a few jobs. We had some robberies, and I was the first one on site, and obviously scene containment, scene description, and the way I treated the initial action. He goes, he's already, the boss upstairs already quite impressed with the shit you've done. So that was quite good to get shoulder tapped. So then I went up there and started the training, and man, it was just a complete different kettle of fish. You're doing drug warrants, and you're doing surveillance on people, and you're just sitting there going, wow, this is the shit that you see in the movies,
Yeah.
Although you're not sitting right outside the person's house with the windows down, having a smoke and fucking drinking a cup of coffee on the dashboard,
For 4 days straight.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And the dashboard's full of McDonald's fucking wrappers and stuff. Not like that.
To be honest, I'm very aware about who follows me or anybody. I'd be very observant and pick you out.
Yeah. And it was good because we had dedicated surveillance teams in the police. So you get to work alongside of those guys. And when they're driving and actually following someone, it's a blast because they're in civilian vehicles, dressed as civilians, not using their own ID. They don't identify themselves to police unless it's fucking vital. But they are operating in the fringes. So if you're here, you're the target here, you might be the lead car, and you're 100% talking, blah, 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 everything they do. They got codes for, coming up to a tumour is a bloody roundabout and all this sort of different code stuff you got to learn. Because when I first listened to the radio, I'm like, what the fuck are these guys on? They're all on encrypted radios. And then in the background, so there's normally a team of like 6 cars. So you'll have a couple here and they'll swap out, and then that car will park up, another one will take off, and then all these cars are just swapping around in the back, and they'll fang off over here to try and get. I'm great watching them, and they do some pretty good. Well, back then they did. They're probably not allowed to anymore. You can't go faster than 5k over the limit, we'll book you. But
I had a friend, one of good mates. He got shoulder tapped to have an interview for a Secret Service after university, and we heard about it afterwards, but he had to tag a car and follow it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he apparently he said he failed miserably.
But yeah, it was really cool. So
but the whole experience sounded really cool.
Oh, it was good. So there was that side of things. I remember we'd have electronic conception warrants on gang members and stuff like that. So we'd have, back in the day, nowadays with the internet, and it's so much easier now to do stuff, but back in the day they'd have a team that would go in and put hidden cameras in places, and then it would have to either be directly beamed to a house down the road or to a repeater up on a hill to go back to it was just all done by microwave links and stuff, so it was quite technical. But that was quite cool, so you'd be sitting there, and I remember we had a massive operation in the hut, and we had guys in the Eastern Hills above Wainuiomata living in the bush in a bivvy basically, and they were recording everything that was going on at these houses. A mate and I were long hair, shitty old fucking clothes, beating up Honda Civic with bald tyres. We'd fang it past these bloody dirtbags' house every day to a house down the road where we had got all the cameras and that set up. We'd sit there and review video footage inside their house at night and all this. It was cool. We did that for about 6 months and then terminated, and we seized a lot of shit. And they went away for quite a while for all that. It was just a big cannabis operation. Mm-hmm. So that sort of stuff was cool. Then you'd have the homicides that would kick off. That was always the classic whodunit sort of thing. I think I told you last time, the taxi driver guy who was good enough to leave his driver's license behind, that made things a little bit easier, but you still had to find the weapon and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, lots and lots of really cool experiences in the police. I couldn't really tell you
So it's true what they say, though, better work stories, because that sounds way better than me sitting at the computer today waiting for some financials to come through so I could add back some interest and depreciation, enter it into a spreadsheet.
It's a bit like my work stories now. Sit there, do a bloody depreciation calculation, do some journals to fucking type. It's, not quite as good as bloody, we're bloody running with guns drawn and bloody blah, you know.
I keep coming back to this. You must really enjoy the kind of hot heat chase, like that kind of sympathetic stimulation, kind of the adrenaline pumping and the adrenaline dump.
Yeah.
Because I went back to and looked back into like back in the day for me personally. I enjoy fighting, okay? Yeah. And then I really thought about why I enjoy fighting. I was like, it's the adrenaline dump and controlling the adrenaline dump of the fighting and have it in controlled. Whereas
instead of rage.
Yeah, well, when I was younger, I was like Dragon Ball Z. It would just all come out and it was like boom, and then there was the drop that was like a thing, but I was still addicted to that drop. Whereas when you're older, you can have it as like a slow tap and kind of thing. So it must be a lot to do with that. And I think it's actually quite important for males in general to have that kind of outlet if they're that way inclined, and have it in such a form that's, whether it's search and rescue where you're actually doing something positive, or it's going and doing something really physical, you know? Like males are that way inclined. You know?
Oh, that's right.
And some females too. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not a male female thing, and this is not the thing.
Like
it's got some masculine females. It's got some feminine males. That's that simple.
Oh, but even some of the young girls. I mean, I remember one of the girls I worked with. I won't name her on here in case she listens to it at some point. But I remember we went to a domestic, and it was in. We were down in Randwick, somewhere down in Wimmera. So we get there and the caller had just dropped the phone. You could hear this screaming. So we parked in the road and we ninja'd up. You could just hear this, but it was a Samoan family going off. And so we went into the door, and as we went into the door, this bloody big dude just come filing through the door and just grabbed me. So I'm having this punch up with this guy in the hallway. And then I managed to get my arm around his throat and was trying to put the carotid on him to put him to sleep. And next minute, his wife saw me doing this to the hubby, so she flipped out because I was having a fight with the hubby, and then went to grab a bloody frying pan. Fucking club. She'd called us, so she was getting ready to hit me over the head with the frying pan. And the young female constable I was working with, she sort of saw this, and I got a million tons respect for her. She was a small girl. And this was a big lady. She just lunged at her and literally just climbed up her, wrapped her arm around her throat, and then we're both sitting just squeezing. It looked hell as funny as our sergeant arrived, because here I am on this big bloody my own boy, buddy, trying to get him
feet dangling in the air,
arm around his neck, you know. Buddy, had my legs wrapped around his front.
He should have learnt jiu-jitsu and crossed those ankles up.
And I'm squeezing like hell, trying to get my arm around this guy that had no neck. And
take a tour.
And pretty much. And then my partner there, she's trying this with this lady, and our boss, Tony, walks up and he goes, just starts laughing, married boy, and he goes, "You fellas all right?" You know? So we ended up locking them both up. But she was cool, because if that lady had smacked me on the head with a frying pan, I'd have been done.
Well, you think about it a different way as well. Like her being, if that situation did happen, then she'd have to focus both of them. Yeah. Two of them. Yeah. So that's a bigger threat.
Yeah, she was cool. She was, and I had a lot of respect for her. And all the guys did, you know, for her size. So, you know, the female police officer can be just as violent as the guys if they need to be. Yeah. In some instances, it can be worse.
So I've got this thing, you know, it's like, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yeah.
So what's your gardening?
Gardening.
So what do you do to kind of help balance you out?
Spreadsheets.
Was that spread cheeks? Sorry,
that's a whole different subject.
Sorry, no disrespect to your
to my business partner.
Yes.
I don't know. What do I like to chill me out?
Doesn't sound like you got any time to chill out. In between accounting.
I quite happy. Like, I've almost run out of projects at home, but sometimes I'll just sit there and build something at home.
Yeah.
I build a deck or something, just something
Yeah.
manual like that, or I used to just go for a walk and stuff like that. I don't know, really. Sometimes I just veg out and do nothing.
Yeah, that's sweet. Just being completely still.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think if there's anything particularly I do.
I think it's important to have like both sides of the spectrum.
Oh, yeah,
like,
you can't
just
full
be all.
noise all the
You
time.
can't be full noise, but you can't be full chill.
Yeah.
All the time. You have to have a balance, and I think I see the difference on both sides of the spectrum when people are real zen and they've got nothing that actually really stimulates them. They're not really living either.
Yeah.
And I've got ones that are too stimulated that they're just fried. So you got to have the balance of the two. I think it's important.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you get a lot of the up here stuff when with some of the things in the police. I mean,
big
there's
time. Big
downright
time.
boring times as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be feast or famine, wouldn't it? It'd be
Oh, Lower Hutt was pretty next level. I remember
reactive. Yeah.
I think I said in the last one, it was around about 2000. We were number 2 serious crime, which is your murders, your rapes, your robberies, all your serious violence offences compared to Otara. And if you compare the size of the two areas, we had some
Plenty going on there.
Yeah, we had plenty bloody going on. That's for sure, But yeah, there was lots of cool stuff to do in there. And then obviously I got sick of the bureaucracy, so I pulled the pin and then moved up here. And I think like I said last time, did the private investigating for a while, then went and worked for IRD. I enjoyed that. That was quite. Again, it wasn't action packed. It's tax. Oh, I got you because you didn't file a GST return. Or something. Mind you, some of the staff got a bit carried away like that. They're like, "Oh yeah, but I'm fucking claiming a pie that he shouldn't have," and you're like,
Pie.
I came up with a funny joke today, actually. You know how it's got... The look on your face is just like...
Well, the last 3 episodes has been the same joke each time.
This is a different joke. You know, with the whole I identify as this, I was like, this would be actually a real funny argument point of view to take to court. I identify as tax-free.
We talked about this the other way.
people have tried that and it's failed.
Yeah, but not in this stage, age. It's not in 2023.
Well, they haven't actually. I must admit, you did right. They haven't tried the word that I identify as tax-free.
Yeah.
Their argument was,
I am tax-free.
I'm an entity.
Yeah, no, that's different.
I haven't signed into. It used to be quite funny watching those court cases.
So I had this conversation with Gabs recently, and I said, I might as well just I identify as a fridge or anything because I'll just dodge all taxes and I'll just keep all my money, right? So you can do that.
We'll just unplug you.
There's a lot of people that appreciate that. I'm not sure what I'm running on, to be fair.
DC, AC, gas.
Bit of a 2-stroke mix.
Oh, jeez. Non-eco-friendly.
Yeah.
I'd hate to be like that EV ute with a generator in the back charging up on the side of the road.
Oh, funny.
Let's not even go down that road.
Yeah. I just had a lol at that today. I was like, oh, that was so funny. It'd be a fair argument point of view, though. Like, if you can identify as a cat, guess what? You can identify as whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. I've got to be okay with it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we could be there all night on that conversation.
Sure, I identify as an iPhone.
Oh, okay.
Supercharged one.
That means I must get upgraded every time it brings out a new one. That'd be right, wouldn't it? Doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So I mean, what else? I'm just trying to think what we haven't discussed.
So your IRD led on to obviously becoming an accountant. So whilst you're in the IRD, though, you were doing some, obviously busing. You had more power, you're saying, sort of than the police. You'd go in and do some raids and stuff.
Information gathering powers the IRD have still are, awesome. If the police had the reach and the ease of obtaining information that the IRD have, they'd be able to definitely pump through a lot more work. And it's always been a bone of contention. I always had the argument when I was at IRD. There's a Canadian court case, Jarvis and Ling, I think it's called. Now I'm going to bore you with fucking case law. So over in Canada, the Canadian Revenue Service, a Jarvis and Ling case basically turned around and said the Canadian Revenue can't use their regulatory powers to obtain evidence to provide for criminal stuff. So if you were doing an audit on you, Gab, and we found shit that was of a criminal nature, you can't turn and go, ha, fucking got you, throw it into this hand and do it, because the regulatory powers that they use are more wide-reaching than what any other enforcement agency would have. They've got to go through production orders, search warrants, all that sort of shit. And they've got to meet a certain standard of proof before they can get them. Unfortunately, our IRD lawyers didn't believe that. So we raised that issue that at some point we'll get challenged, because Inland Revenue here believe that their information gathering powers cross over both parts. There used to be a thing called a Section 19 interview. They don't have it anymore. They've changed it. It's all under Section 17 now, of the Tax Administration Act, where the Commissioner would require you to attend a meeting and you must give the information that they ask, and your Bill of Rights don't apply. But the flip side of it is, if you attend one of those Section 19 interviews, the information can't be used against you in a criminal proceeding. Problem I always have with that is that's all well and good to say that, but if I asked you a question, you said, oh, you've got a bank account at HSBC Bank, blah, 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 cool. I'm going to do a warrant on that bank, get that information, and now I've just got the information to...
Yeah, you can't know what you already know.
So I can't use your statement against you, but I now know where to go and find the evidence. So we had that argument a lot, and IRD just stood firm and said, no, we can do it. So I'm looking forward to the day that someone actually fucking challenges them on that.
Someone could just not tell them the truth too, though.
Yeah, but see, then there was a criminal offence for...
withholding information.
Yeah, it was fraught. I mean, my mate Mike, he's an ex-copper as well that used to work for IRD. He's retired now. We both had the same opinion. But again, you had two ex-detectives that dealt with criminal law all their lives, trying to argue against people that had gone and got a law degree. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of lawyers, you can get a law degree now without even doing an evidence paper. But you can still call yourself a lawyer. You know, so I mean that's fundamentals of law as the rules of evidence. But I digress. But yeah, so. The information gathering powers are vast. They can take money out of bank accounts. Anyone that holds money in trust for you, they just have to provide the different orders. So 157 or 154 deduction notice. And then that agency or entity is obliged to hand the money over. And if they don't, they could be prosecuted for obstruction. I took it to extreme lengths because I had an inmate in Mount Eden prison that was a gang member and a fucking idiot, and it basically committed a whole pile of income tax fraud while he was inside. So he'd stand over people and get their IRD numbers or make them fill in bullshit income tax returns to get refunds and then get it paid in his account and stuff like that. So we managed to track it all back to him because he wasn't smart and put all the money into his own bank account. So I put up these assessments against him and I said, oh, you got this big tax debt. And he was basically like, fuck you can't get my money, I'm inside, blah, blah, blah. And that really bugged me. And I'm like, fuck you, asshole. So I'm sitting there, and while I was sitting there after he was just being a smug prick across the table, a dude just come back from the cafeteria, or the canteen at the prison, and he had like toothpaste and stuff like that. And I'm like, bing, a light bulb moment. So buddy left Mount Eden, came back down here, ran up corrections. I said, the canteen accounts, can't remember what they call them, what the proper name is for them. Is that actual bank account? And the lady, oh, no, we just hold a ledger here and, we just keep the money and family members can drop $100 or something like that. I'm like, cool. What's in such and such account? And she told me there's like $500 or $600 and something in there. I'm like, awesome. What's your email address? And she gave me an email address. Sent this thing off, and then she rings me up. She goes, what's this notice I've got that I've got to take all the money out of such and such's account and deposit into... I said, correct. I said, it's a 154 deduction notice, and if you don't do it, you're breaching the act. So all of a sudden this money came to IRD. Literally within probably about 2 hours of that happening, I get a ranting prisoner on the phone. You're a effing arsehole taking my money, blah, 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 blah. I turned around and said, mate, IRD have got big arms. I said, I've just reached into your canteen account. And the notice that I gave them basically said any time money went into it, it was to get paid to us. So that was a great thing for me. But he was miffed. But it didn't last very long because all he did was went and stood over someone else and got the money put into their account, But it was just to send that message to say, they've got long and reaching powers, and they have. So if you're listening out there and trying to hide money from IRD, they'll find it. And if you owe them, they'll take it. Well, they can take it.
Yeah.
But
they are good to work with if you keep in touch with them.
Oh, and that's the thing. With IRD, it's everyone raves on about them, and, accountants get annoyed with them as well. But if you keep those line of communications open, and with all the shit we've been through over the last few years with COVID and the floods and, like even when I was still working there when the Christchurch earthquake and stuff happened, they're there to help you. And it's about that communication. If you bury your head in the sand, you're just going to build up interest and penalties by the truckload, and then trying to get them removed is the hard thing. But if you communicate with them from the get-go and say, look, I can't pay this, they can put payment plans in place, help stop. Interest keeps accruing. It is what it is. It's no different than a loan. Interest accrues, but penalties will stop. And it's the penalties that can add up real quick. So they're pretty good as long as you communicate with them. Sometimes there's just no helping because people are just way too far
deep.
Gone.
Some big companies that owe hundreds of thousands of tax, you never claw yourself back from.
And I mean, they do have hardship criteria where you can apply, and you've got to do full statement of financial positions and stuff like that, and they'll assess that against your earning capacity and bits and pieces like that, and then they might look at
because you do hear a few people wipe it out, Is that a hardship claim usually? Like, right, this is the hole we've dug, there's no way of paying you?
Sometimes they'll write it off. They normally expect some kind of a payment plan. So, like if it's case by case basis. But if you owed 20 grand, you can say, well, I can pay you 15, but I've only got another cent. They might accept that and wipe 5. Other times you might go, I owe you 400, I got 200. 400,000, I've got $200. They're like, nah, and you're gonna have to go bankrupt to wipe it. So
too far gone.
Yeah. If you're too far gone, you're too far gone. You've
spent that 400 grand on that yacht that's sitting in the harbour, and
but you did right. Communication's the key. If you contact them, they're normally pretty good.
Same with us, the finance companies. You dodge us, and you've missed a payment or something. We're going to be ringing, say what's happening, and if you say, oh, actually this happened, but you can take the payment on this date, cool, sweet as. Thanks for letting us know. But as soon as we ring you again the next week, and you're dodging us because you're embarrassed to talk to us. The next question is, where's that asset? Where are we going to pick it up from?
Yeah.
And it can get there pretty quickly if there's no communication.
Yeah, that's right. The old repo man's knocking on your door before you know it. So. Yeah. But no,
so from there you went into accounting, and then the rest is history. You met a guy called Jason Fox, and he's like, hey bro, I got this cool idea, we should.
And we've kicked it off. We're into it.
Yeah.
It's good though, because, when you first came and spoke to us about the profitable pathway stuff, it just made sense because, truckies are limited to the hours they can work, and we all know there's lots of them that will drive their full hours and they'll go home and do another 2 or 3 hours
cleaning the truck
and doing their accounts. Well, unless you're fiddling your logbook, there's no other way you can get around that, or you're just saying that it's off-duty time, but in reality...
because what Carl's saying is that doing the logbooks counted as work hours. Your accounts is counted as work hours.
Yep. So it makes sense, with profitable pathways, you can spend all your time in your truck and then let us deal with everything else,
Yeah, and the difference is because we'll have other people's tax, fuel bills, R&M, everything coming through. We can compare you against someone else, see where you're wrong. We can look at your numbers and go, hey, you realise you actually might be better off in a new truck because your R&M's too high, but if you finance it, your cash flow might be better off by $300 a month, plus you have a better asset on the balance sheet and all those little things that we'll be working with our clients on. So
whereas, normally you're just bumbling along and,
just doing what you already always have done.
You know, you hit a bump on State Highway 1 because there's fucking heaps of them to find, and then you look over and all the receipts that are sitting in the passenger stairwell have popped over the gear stick and are all of a sudden under your feet, you know, and you're like, oh, probably should contact the accountant.
Yeah.
You know, we've had plenty of clients come in with rubbish bags full of bloody receipts and stuff.
Well, mine are just in those boxes there, but they all just say beer.
Bottle-o.
Only certain amount claimable on that.
20,000, which equals 10. 50%.
But yeah, it's, you know, it's, like I said earlier, if you'd asked 17 and 18-year-old Carl that you'd be an accountant, I'd be like, nah, I wouldn't be, but
yeah,
I actually really, really enjoy it. It's
what do you think you would have been if you had asked the 17-year-old?
When I was at school, I always wanted to be a chef in the army. That was from when I was a little kid.
Yep.
I'd always wanted to be that.
Nailed it.
Yep, nailed it. Always wanted to be a fireman. Yep, nailed it. And always wanted to be a cop.
Nailed it.
And I never even wanted to work for IRD, but it was just a natural progression. But yeah, so I mean, the three things that I'd always wanted to do as a kid, I'd pretty much nailed by the time I was, 26?
Yeah.
25.
Well,
it's amazing what you can do when you're not just boozing it up. And
yeah, that's right.
Put your mind to something.
Hard work.
head down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always said the saying, hard work pays off, and I'm well known for it. And yeah, obviously you work smart, but hard work pays off. Like nothing actually beats hard work. Like,
well, it's consistency. It's just showing up. You can work really hard for one day. You only get one day's worth of results, but you can show up and do 70% for the rest of your life, and you're going to get something pretty incredible out of that consistency.
And a lot of people go on about, you know, I spent, you know, from bloody over 10 years, 12 years at school. Why do I want to keep on learning? Well, you learn every fucking day.
I want to learn even more now.
Yeah, that's right. You become information hungry, eh?
It's an age thing. It's an age thing. Because I was the same. Like, get me fucking out of school. I never need to learn another thing. And I learned on the job site, but I didn't have a thirst for learning. Whereas, you know, yesterday I drove to Hamilton and back, podcasts the whole way.
Yep.
Pretty much, I don't know how many podcasts I've listened to today. And I'm listening to a podcast I listened to 5 years ago. You know, I was feeling a bit flat, like I said earlier. I was like a bit low this week, and I was like, I know the podcast I need to listen to, and I went back to stuff that was back from 2018-19. That was like the start of my journey of listening to podcasts and refreshed on that stuff.
Like, boom.
Yeah, hold me back.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, and trying to do like a book every couple of weeks and all the rest of it. And from me, the difference in me as a person, the calmness, the knowledge, just transforms you.
Oh, it's just growth.
Oh,
it's
it is.
Really
and I think, you know, my 18-year-old daughter who's starting to be a nurse now, and my 19-year-old daughter's also doing nursing. They're sort of like, oh, God, you know, 3 years more study. I was like,
it's nothing.
Hello, you know, I'm 51 and I'm going to start my bloody chartered accountants stuff soon, you know. Yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, but why do you want to do that, Dad? It's like, well, why wouldn't I want to do that? You know, it's all about learning and growing. And if I think back on everything I've done to where I am now, well, it's all helped me get to where I've got, you know.
And if you really love something, you're not actually, it's not like, oh, she's doing this for another 5 years. Like, I actually personally don't see myself retiring.
No, I can't. I think I'd be bored out of my fucking mind.
Yeah, I actually see myself just winding down and not doing so much, maybe completely more selective in how I do things, but I'm always going to do what I do.
Yeah. And that's what I think retirement is to a successful person. Like, a lot of people go, oh, retirement means I'm going to sit on the couch all day and I'll do nothing.
Oh,
there's a lot of 20-year-olds and stuff doing exactly the same thing. Just collect the dough and we'll just do absolutely nothing. But, you know, again, for me, we've spoken about it before. Retirement looks like, my phone's not ringing anymore, but I'm going out and I'm buying and flipping houses and buying more investments and maybe playing with some shares and, you know, and then you can get into, you know, well, this charity means a lot for me. I'm going to go and spend the next 3 months working with them, and you can do the stuff that means a lot more to you rather than the desperation of, I've got to earn $1. This is what I must do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'd love to get to the point where I could own a racetrack and have a race car and fan around that for 3 or 4
me
hours.
too.
And
Oh,
but after 3 or 4 hours of that, I jump out, and then there's a gun range at the end of it where I can shoot all sorts of cool shit.
Oh,
Sounds great.
That'd be fantastic.
Well, we're all working towards the same thing in this room. So
So how about we go thirds?
I don't know if Megan's that keen on that idea.
How about we go a gravel track too?
Oh, you have to. You have to
Okay,
go
thank
through
you.
and be like the three, be tarmac, gravel, mud,
Perfect.
yeah, like one of those rally sprint, whatever, like Travis Pastrana races and stuff.
Yes, now
Jumps
we're
and
talking.
Yeah.
Done.
Or maybe 3 different tracks, because you can have one of those awesome off-road buddy, Dakar buddy off-road racer things that you
Yeah.
just fucking launch over.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So
Trophy truck or
basically,
something.
what you're saying, we need hectares.
We need hectares. Yes. It's not a quarter acre
You're
section.
speaking my language. That was the one thing that I kind of gave up on, like with buying our property. I was like, we wanted an old villa or an old house with character. We wanted our country, no neighbours. We wanted a project.
No shower.
No, we wanted a shower, but we've got no shower. That's me being a little bit too optimistic in what I can achieve. The wife's not so happy with me, but we're getting there. all the internal supplies in my shed, the compound. I also wanted 10 hectares.
That'd be cool though, wouldn't it? Imagine,
That'd be amazing.
The funniest podcast with Virginie, and she's like, "So what did you get?" And you're like, "Half an acre, is it?" And
Half a hectare.
And she goes, and she's like, "Oh shit, sorry."
Hey, but you'll understand why when you see the space. That's a great. Like everything ticked all the boxes except for the 10 hectares.
Yeah.
So that was like the whole dream, and it was also on our dream road. As well. Actually, off our dream road that we used to drive down every Sunday.
Oh, that's all right. So you've pretty much
It
ticked
was
most
like
of the
tick,
boxes.
tick, 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 just that. But there's a big but. There's got a kiwi fruit orchard around us. One day we might be able to buy that.
If it tanks, you might be able to.
Yeah.
So,
It
but
may
it doesn't
do.
mean your 10 hectares has to be by your house.
No, that's the other catch as well.
Your
So
10 hectares could be somewhere
The
else.
racetrack.
well, I was actually thinking of
Let's just buy Tech Park.
yeah. Well, I was actually thinking of buying a forestry block.
Yep.
In the future, that would be a goal.
There's a whole lot flat in
goal.
Taupo. A whole lot flat going in Taupo might be
Done.
going cheap.
That'll be 2 hours, easy to get to.
Be a bit of work getting rid of all those stumps and that to put the tracks down, but hey, be a bit of
Hey,
fun.
mate, it'll be worth it.
Yeah, let's have a meeting about this. The 10 hectare retirement dream.
Yeah.
The girls probably be very
Carbon
happy with
credits, you're going green. You can't
look,
complain.
Anna loved it when I was on the boat. She loves a good few days with Jason out of the house. So if I had a racetrack out of town, it would suit her.
Okay, where are we going?
Queenstown, where all the good racetracks are.
Done.
By Highlands.
We're
Yeah.
coming.
You dumped out full of ammo and guns. And off down
Hey, I need to jump here. Can you mind dropping some artillery?
Let's open the new Instagram, Dan Bilzerian of NZ.
Jason Fox.
Tongue twister.
Yeah, I screwed that one up.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I think we've covered most things off. You didn't want to talk about your tongue cancer because a lot of people might not have got to that part in that other podcast, and there's quite some impactful stuff in that. But
Oh, yeah, we can. We've got a bit of time. How much time we got left? I'll do a cut down version. So, on the other podcast, if you listen to it, I got basic tongue cancer. When was it? 2017. End of 2017. Big lump come up on my neck. Went to the doctor. They thought it was a sore throat. I did have a sore throat, to be fair, at the same time. Treated that. Sore throat went. This big lump stayed. So doctor goes, yeah, it might be just your lymph nodes playing up because of the tonsillitis. So he gave me these other antibiotics. Took those, and instead of going down like he said it would, it got bigger. So I went back to the doctor, and he goes, that's not good. So sent me to, went away, got a ultrasound, and they drained it, sent it away, sort of came back, they were happy with it, well, with the fluid anyway, and then they did some other testing on some of the cells, and then I got a phone call my wife and I were sitting at home watching TV between Christmas and New Year 17, 18, and got a phone call from the doctor going, oh, can you come in and have a chat with us? We need to talk about your ongoing treatment. And when a doctor says that, they're not sitting there talking about fucking, you know, your sore throat's going to go away. That's,
ongoing treatment.
You sort of sit there going, right, something's not right. So I went down to the doctor, and she was all nice, going, oh, thanks for not making me tell you over the phone, and literally said, well, when you get that sort of phone call, you're not ringing me up to tell me that I'm fucking healthy, you know. So she's basically said the results have come back and atypical of malignancy. And Megan and I sort of looked at each other and went, fuck, okay, cool. Where is it? And she goes, we don't know, somewhere in your head. So straight away your fucking mind runs away to thinking
brain cancer,
I'm fucking going to die in a week or something like that. So that was a bit of a stressful time, and then straight away you start thinking, oh God, New Zealand health system, what's going to happen here, you know, waiting lists and stuff like that. But to be fair, this was back in the day of the Bay of Plenty Regional Health Board. They were awesome. It was definitely about 2 weeks later, got into the hospital. They did another ultrasound and a CT scan, and then they drained it again, and the lump disappeared with the draining. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And then get a phone call to go back, and the fluid again was fine. They didn't find anything in the fluid, but they sent some of the biopsies they took out of the lump, out of the lymph node away, 4 different laboratories in Australia and New Zealand, and they do that so they can pick up any outliers with testing and stuff like that. But fortunately for me, all 4 came back the same result, that I had. P16 was the enzyme from the HPV virus, which is the same human
papilloma virus.
That's the one. I never get the P word out, which causes the cervical cancer in women. That's what it had come back with. Again, they still weren't sure where it was located, because this particular stuff had come out of a lymph node, which as soon as they say, well, it's in your lymph node, you're thinking, fuck, spread. Yeah. So you start freaking out a bit. Would have been probably a week, maybe 2 weeks again later. Appointment with ENT specialist at the hospital. Absolutely lovely woman. Couldn't say more about her. She was really good. And so she had a look at it, and she goes, okay, we need to take your tonsils out, because I still have my tonsils. So they suspected that that's where it was. And because my tonsils were inflamed, and to be fair, they've always been inflamed, but they thought, right, we need to get that lymph node out, we need to get your tonsils out. So we were sitting there thinking, oh God, surgery, okay, that's going to be, 3 or 4 months. But funny enough, they look and go, oh yeah, we can do it next Wednesday. So literally less than 7 days later, I'm in surgery, tonsils out, lymph node out. That was the size, my lymph node was the size 7 egg, basically, this massive big bloody thing.
Wow.
And then they took the tonsils out, and at the time, it was the most excruciating pain I'd ever felt in my life. I'd broken bones and stuff like that, but that pain of having your tonsils out as an adult was unreal.
Is that quite common, or is it just...
No, it is. Apparently it is quite common. And as an adult, you've got more chance of hemorrhaging from the wound site. I don't know, because you're bigger, I don't know. So they had to be careful of that. But I still remember to this day that pain was unreal. Obviously, they gave me some fantastic drugs to help with that, so that was cool. That all got sent away for testing, and then again it came back. Tonsils were fine, so the cancer wasn't in my tonsils. The lymph node... it must have been like a Geiger counter going off. So back again, and they sent me for a PET scan over in Hamilton. They don't do them here. So they send you to Hamilton, and they inject you with a radioactive isotope in a heavy glucose syrup. And apparently the particular glucose they use, your brain, your kidneys, cancer, and there was one other thing. Maybe your heart muscle consume huge amounts of this glucose to function. And the radioactive isotope obviously just follows this glucose round. So it was quite freaky because we went over there and my wife and my best friend Mike stayed out in reception, and they took me down, and you go into this place with doors like a foot thick, and they give you a tour. These black lines all over the place, and they go, that's the scanner room. I'm like, yeah, cool. And they go, that's your room, and it's got this massive door and all on the walls, lead plated, blah blah blah. The door weighed like half a ton, and then there was a toilet, and they go, right, you sit in that chair, and we'll be back. So I was like, okay, and all you can hear in the background is this like they're clicking of a bloody Geiger counter, and you're like, what the fuck's going on here? And it just kept on cackling away, and then the guy comes in and goes, I'm going to put a lure in. So they whip a lure in your arm, gives you this pile of, you had to drink a shit ton of water, and you're sitting there in this chair, and all of a sudden God speaks to you through the speaker. It's like, Carl, and you're like, shit, you better shit yourself, you're not expecting this.
Lovely.
And they go, we're going to give you your isotope, and then we need to wait for 30 minutes, then you need to go to the toilet, then you got to walk, follow the black line down to the scanner, and you're like, oh yeah, all right then. And you can hear this bloody Geiger counter crackling as it's getting wheeled down the bloody floor to you, and then it pops in the room and the door semi-shuts, and you're thinking, do I have to hook this thing up myself sort of thing? And this Geiger counter just fizzing away beside you, and then this guy's arm pops back around the door, and it's just an arm comes in. And you're like, what's going on? He goes, it's all good. He goes, just put your arm out straight, and he picks up this thing and he's up your arm and he just screws the stuff, all done. Well, obviously he deals with this shit all the time, so it's probably not good for him around this stuff. Yeah. And then it remotely puts the stuff into you, and then he unplugs it and buggers off. So that's all cool. Half an hour later, go for a pee, and then go down to the scanner, and everyone keeps away from you, doesn't go anywhere near you. Then they put you through the scanner, and then they kick you out the back door because you're not allowed to go out the front door because you're radioactive. And the first question they say, you're not planning on any international travel in the next 24 hours, are you? You're like, why is that? They say, because you'll set off all the nest sensors. You're like, fucking hell, how radioactive am I? And effectively, it's like you've had, was it not 10, I think it was 100 x-rays in a row. That's how much stuff, and it takes like 24-hour period. So they said you can't be near a pregnant woman, not allowed to be near young children, and you can't travel effectively.
You know what I want to? What comes to mind when? How the hell did they figure this out?
No idea.
That's what I'm like. How the hell did they figure this out in order to do the testing? Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, some genius come up with it,
Yeah.
And so they do the scanning, and you do, oh, what's it look like? Oh, it's
either some genius or some crazy.
Yeah, some nutbag.
How many people died testing before they got it there?
Yeah, how much did they back it up, eh?
Yeah.
But anyway, so went back home, didn't hear anything for 3 or 4 days, and then called back into the hospital, and they show you the scan, and there's this massive big red dot just down here in the bottom left of my throat. And they go, that's your tumour. I'm like, cool. But if you look down, you couldn't see it. So I was lucky. It's a really aggressive form of cancer.
Did the CT not pick up any lump? Or
no, so the CT scan showed the inflamed lymph node.
But nothing else.
But it wouldn't pick up anything else. And they'd put those endoscopes down my throat, and my tongue looked normal.
Yeah.
It was fine. So I was lucky that my lymph node flared up, because that's what gave us the early indication that there was issues. Apparently it's a really aggressive form of cancer, and normally the first symptoms you find are you can't swallow, or it feels like you've got an obstruction in your throat. But by then the tumour's
too big,
massive. So either it's too far gone, or they end up removing most of your tongue to get rid of it. So she showed me that, and I'm like, oh, that's all right. And she says, so that's where it is. I said, okay, what's the path here? And there was another ENT specialist in there, and he goes, you've got 2 sets of tonsils. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, you've got your normal ones, you've got lingual, which sit apparently they look like little balls that sit right at the base of your tongue, down in here. And he goes, so we're going to try and grab the left one, and then we're going to take some more samples from your mouth. So I didn't know what they were doing with that. But so another surgery, they took that tonsil out, and they basically, when you looked in my mouth, you could see, the melon baller? They'd effectively used one of those. There's like 5 or 6 different places in my mouth that just gouged all the shit out. So that was pretty sore. And then it would have been another week, 2 weeks after that, called back in, right, need to go to the Catherine Kilgore Centre here in Tauranga, get fitted for a face mask. So they basically put this big plastic, it's a big block of plastic that they dump in hot water. They take a CT scan of you, then they drag you back out, they tell you to hold your breath, and they basically, it's probably the closest thing I could think you could say is waterboarding, because this thing's got full of little holes, but it's in a compressed block about that big. They dump it in warm water and they throw it on your face and they stretch it out, and it's literally stuck right over your face. And they eventually, as it spreads out, the holes start to stretch out and you can breathe through it. And a couple of minutes later it sets and they take it off. And I'm like, what the fuck's that for? And effectively what they do is they lock your head to the table where they do the radiation therapy. So you don't move. Yeah, so it's got to be targeted. And then they put their little bloody marks all over the mask to hit the right points and stuff like that. So that was an interesting experience. But
so they don't give you much warning, all the shit just happens?
Yeah, well, I think they don't tell you too much, so you don't freak out. They just do it and it's done. So yes, that was interesting. So then I had 6 weeks every day except the weekends, so Monday to Friday radiation treatment. Because it had metastasized to my left lymph node, they cooked both sides of me. Normally they just do the side that the tumour's on, but they were worried that it might have come across here, so they decided they'd bake both sides of me. And then every Monday I had to go to the cancer ward up here, and for about 4 hours, and they gave me chemo, which was interesting because the chemo they use is quite a vicious one, cisplastin, and they give you these steroids to counteract the side effects of the chemo, but the fucking steroids gave me the hiccups. So the first time I started taking them, I had hiccups for like 7 days, non-stop.
For throat cancer is like completely terrible.
Oh yeah, but just trying to sleep when you're constantly hiccuping, it did my head in. So I ended up going to the doctor and they gave me these antipsychotics. So I had another drug to stop the thing, and then we went back and saw the oncologist, and he goes, that'll be the steroids. So we stopped the steroids, I could stop the other drugs, and hiccups went away. So I was like, yeah, sweet. Had my next buddy chemo session, then across to Catherine Kilgore, we went home, and then within an hour my temperature was knocking on 40. Megan freaked out and threw me in the car and we shot off to the hospital, because they basically said if you get a temperature you got to fucking get down there. And they give you this little card, so you get into A&E, you basically throw the ladies this card, and then everything erupts. They drag you out to the back, straight into an isolation room. They're all gowned up, massive bloody blood cultures are ripped out of you and stuff like that. So because they thought I'd picked up an infection, and obviously the chemo and the radiation kills your immune system. But it transpired that a side effect of that bloody stuff is high temperatures. Mm-hmm. So I went through all that shit.
Oh, we had that same card that you had to pass through if you had to rush to the hospital for the little boy. Yeah. And just boom, straight away.
Game changer.
No question.
There's no mucking around. You're straight through.
Around. It's huge, and it's so important though.
Yeah,
that little card.
Yep.
We didn't lose it.
Hold on to that card for life.
Yeah, Abby's got it somewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately you can't keep using it, but it was great when I had it. But so we did that, and I had issues probably about week 3. I had issues that I couldn't eat, and I lost a shit ton of weight. I lost 35 kilos over the entire treatment. I lost, I think, about 12 or 14 in 7 days, and my oncologist goes, you're going into the hospital. Because when we first got there, they offered a peg for me, and I'm like, nah, because I'd spoken to other people that had it. They said they managed to eat, but my circumstances were different because they cooked both sides of me. So people that had only been cooked half could sort of swallow stuff. I couldn't do anything. So I was in hospital for about 7 days while they fought over putting a peg in and not put. And basically it came down to the guy that originally was going to put it in. He goes, he declined it. And then my oncologist goes, well, fucking have a look at him. He can't not have one or he'll be dead in a week. So obviously the oncologist won, so they put a peg in, and then once they started...
By that stage, did you say, hey, I'm actually open to it?
Oh, I was too gone. I was just
shell and bones.
I was just done. Megan was doing all the talking for me and stuff, and the doctors were really good. He fought tooth and nail, and then he came up and he goes, it's sorted, you're getting it, and then they plug you up to this machine.
It's a no-brainer.
Oh yeah, what do? You just let someone die because he originally said no. It was crazy.
No, because of not understanding something.
Yeah, well, they hadn't
explained it, and that's what's really important, explaining things.
And they hadn't explained any of the pain, the uncomfort and stuff like that. They just said it's not going to be comfortable. But, it wasn't great.
Interpretation could be taken many different ways.
And I mean, your young fella had that same stuff, that horrible goopy stuff through the pump for a while. And so you lived on that for ages.
He had it for 3 months at least, and then afterwards he was actually only allowed to drink it, but he was able to drink it orally. So he had that for about 6-8 months.
Yeah,
it was pretty gross.
It's next level.
I cannot stand the smell of it.
No, and when it comes up, it's even worse. I can't do up and goes, any of that stuff anymore. I just look at them and I'm like, funny how stuff like that triggers you.
We had a couple castings of it in the garage, and we happened to, once we're out of the kind of trance of the whole situation, we actually looked at the label and we're like, how the hell can this be prescribed for nutrition? And we were like, it was just crashing. It was just sugar. It was just 100% sugar.
Disgusting stuff.
Oh, I 100%. He used to get this film around his mouth, and
Yeah, I just look at it now when I'm bombed.
Yeah, I get you.
So I went through all that. Like I said before, I thought the tonsil removal pain was bad, but the next level pain was the culmination of 6 weeks of chemo and radiation, effectively from my nose halfway down to the top of my chest. They cooked and it was brand new skin, so it's just the rejuvenation, and had to learn to swallow again and all that sort of stuff. To this day, I still get real bad cramp in my neck, and it's just from the fibrous nature of my neck muscle.
You have a lot of scar tissue through
and funnily enough, I don't know if I covered it the last time, but it was annoying. You just be sitting, you just get massive cramp, and you just have to sit there and just rub until it goes away, and it was just, you couldn't sleep, you couldn't do anything. And my dentist sent me to see the guy up here at the just up on Brown Street, that facial clinic, John Bridgman, and he's a maxillofacial surgeon. And he turned around, I went up and spoke to him. He goes, well, I use Botox for people that clench their jaw. And he said, there's potentially no reason this won't work for you. And he goes, never done it, don't know how much to give you, don't know where to give it to you. And you're sitting there thinking, this is a cool conversation.
What's the worst that can happen?
And he said,
it's like the guy who figured out radiation.
Yeah, pretty much.
I always wondered why Cole looks so young, though.
Oh, that's right. And he said, worst case scenario, he goes, is I'll give you too much and your neck will flop. And I'm like, cool. And he goes, but it only lasts 3 or 4 months. And then once the Botox wear off, it comes right. So I'm like, it's got to be better than sitting here every 5 minutes, buddy, with massive cramping in your neck and, and stuff like that. So we went, cool, let's do it. So he did it, and instantaneously, like when I woke up, they did it at the hospital first. When I woke up in recovery and that, nothing. And I was mint for 3 months, and then it would come back. So I rang him again, and he go, cool. And we were in the COVID times then, so went up to his clinic up here. He did it again. So I get it about every 4 months, but it's a game changer,
And is that on your own dime, or is that covered?
No, all paid for by Ministry of Health, yeah.
Okay.
So luckily, because I'd hate to think what it costs every 4 months to do that. But it's, I would be an angry, bitter man, I think, if I still had to put up with that.
Well, pain is a really, really hard thing to deal with, even if it's like a 2 out of 10 in severity. But if you've got it for a long duration, constantly, I see people all the time, and I see how much they change. Like, you think, oh, jeez, that person's like, oh, I wouldn't want to be married to them. and they just completely change, though. You're like, they're actually just dealing with a lot of pain, and they become actually the ones that you think, oh, these are going to be hard work, are often the most loveliest clients.
Yeah,
they're just dealing with a lot of pain.
Yeah. Oh, it was a game changer. It's changed my life, and I'd say to anyone that has any of those, you don't have to have had throat cancer, but if you've got somewhere, like bad neck spasms, or you clench your jaw or something, go and see these guys, because it'll honestly change your whole life,
Oh, just anything where it's looking after your body and a proactive approach is a game changer. And this gets on to the other thing, whereas you don't know what people are dealing through with, so just be a nice person, because if you meet somebody and they're being like, oh, they're just a foul and nasty person, guess what? They might be dealing with a whole pile of stuff that you may not be aware of. You don't know the backstory. Just be a nice person.
Yeah.
It's really, really important. So on that aspect, you've covered such a large amount of stuff. So I know I've asked you the question before, but I always like to finish on it. But is there anything that you would give? What's some advice you'd give your younger self? Because I know the last podcast was a little bit hard to listen to.
So I'd still stick with that same advice: is if you really want to do something, don't be gun shy and just do it. Mm-hmm. It was after 30 years government service, effectively, to my wife and I going, fuck it, let's go and work for ourselves, because we like helping people. We love being involved in people's businesses, and, like in this business with Jace, helping out the transport industry and stuff. It's a good feeling, although it's scary, because you're leaving the comfort of a regular income, all this sort of stuff. But if I'd look back now, I could have probably done it a few years earlier. Mm-hmm. So I think if there's something you really, really want to do in life, you don't want to get to a point where you go, I really wish I'd just given that a go. Because to not do it is a failure in itself, I think. Yeah. And unless you give it a go, you're never going to know if you're going to succeed at that. And hey, a lot of people have given stuff a go and it hasn't worked. But you can never be ridiculed for giving it a go, because there's a lot of people that go, oh, I wouldn't have done that. Yeah, but you've done nothing. You've always you haven't.
You just say, what have you done?
Yeah. And I think, that would be the advice. If I look back now, I wouldn't change anything I've done, but when I was in the army, I'd always sort of thought about trying out for the SAS. Mm-hmm. But never really, I was like, I probably won't make it, probably won't do this. But I always lived with that, fuck, what if I'd tried it,
You never know.
I could be in a completely different situation. It could have changed the path of my life. I don't regret where I am now, but it's always that, what if, I could have tried it and not made it.
But at least you would have tried.
At least I would say, well, gave it a go,
or you can realise how deep your pockets are.
Yeah. And I think that if I look back on it now, when I was in the army at that stage, probably why I didn't do it, if I honestly think back about it, is because the selection is one of the hardest things you could ever do. And I trained with a mate of mine that went to do it. So I was fit enough to go, and he failed because he was a skinny guy at the beginning, and with the amount of work, he just run out of gas. And they even said that to him, dude, you need to go and put on 20 kilos and you'll come back and smash it. But he could sit there and eat fucking 4 plates of food, and he's just one of those people with a real high metabolism, just didn't put on weight. But I was always worried that if I tried and didn't make it and I returned to my unit or RTU'd, they'd ridicule you, oh, you fucking idiot, you couldn't make it, blah, blah, blah. But
let's worry about other people's opinions.
That's the thing. Yeah. And that would be my advice. If that's what you want to do, fucking try it.
Yeah. Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to take two.
Yeah. Thanks for your time twice.
That's all right. You're welcome.
But thank you. And got just as much from this one as I did the first one.
Yeah, it was different in many ways, and if anyone's listened to both of them, well, thanks for your time as well, and I hope you got value from Karl's stories, and he sure has lived a colourful life with lots of different challenges and kick-ass stories. So you want to have a fun life, join the army, become a chef, join the police.
just say yes.
Then go to IRD.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not go to IRD.
Okay.
No, thanks, guys.
Awesome. All right,
Excellent.
cheers, Karl.
Well, thank you very much.